Oh my!
It's Dynamite!
Wednesday night Dynamite!
So Dynamite!
This is awesome! This is that, this is this! Hey everybody, have a great time!
It's Dynamite!
I'm not one of these f***ing goof podcasters out there. I am Don Tony, Wednesday night Dynamite! What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday night, September 30th, 2020, the last day of September. I am Don Tony, and yes, I promised everybody that I would don the Backlund 2000 shirt. I bought it for nostalgia. I got this 20 years ago in the Nassau Coliseum when Backlund was walking all across the rafters, signing autographs, taking pictures. See, Backlund 2000. That's the back. Obviously, he didn't win, but I put it on today, and I'm like, oh my God, I look like the ultimate goof. But you know what? All right, I know I'm going to come off as a jerk right now, but just one time for the haters. Just for the haters. Just for the hell of it. Never too old to have fun. I'm going to roll up the sleeves a little. We'll do the guns. All right. That will be a preview pick. Many. Oh, wait. We got to do one more. We got to do without the name showing. Ready, everybody? Ready? Nice. So many haters, not enough shows. And I'll tell you, I'm going to talk about Joey Ryan tonight. I'm curious, and I'm not trying to be funny here. I'm curious if he is going to sue podcasters, bloggers for defamation as well. He might as well. It's California. That and a pack of gum, you can pretty much do what you want. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. I'll tell you the truth. I was going to put on, I don't have it in this room. I was going to put on the Don Tony vest with this. It looks even cornier. Actually, you know what? I think it's worth getting it, even though it's going to make me hot. Or should I just leave this like this and do the whole show like this? Wearing the vest with this look, I'm going to get it. All right, there we go. Put the vest on. Audio only people will say this sucks. All due respect. Too bad. Tell me this doesn't look like absolutely like ridiculous. Seriously. You know, there we go. All right. Even worse. Let's throw the air on so I don't start sweating my balls off. Let's have fun tonight, everybody. Especially after last night on Patreon. MISH and I did a watch-along of the presidential debate. And all I could say is look at this screenshot. And that pretty much was how we felt pretty much the whole night. I mean, talk about an absolute, I'm going to curse, a clusterfuck. I promise you, I will not talk debate on tonight's episode. I may not even talk about it on Friday's Don Tony show as well. You know what it is? This has been built up for so many months, and to have that garbage, both sides, yesterday, nah, man. That's like meeting someone on eHarmony like 4 or 5 months ago, and you're talking for 4 or 5 months and you don't get together because of COVID and because you can't go to a restaurant right now. So for 4 or 5 months, you're anticipating, you think it's going to be absolutely awesome. It's going to be worth the wait. I can't wait. You count the days down, and then you pick her up and she catfished you. Or she smells like cheese. Or she's got a big booger hanging out of her nose. Or she smiles and she's got that good times mama, the gap in the tooth. A lot of things, Or, well, we won't go there. So, big letdown. But look, here's the plan for tonight's show. We're going to talk AEW Dynamite. We're going to talk NXT on USA tonight. The predictions for TakeOver will be done Friday during the Don Tony show, because there is an additional match or two that WWE is strongly considering adding to TakeOver. So I don't want to do the predictions tonight, and then tomorrow we hear another match or two is officially added, and then it's like an incomplete prediction. So we'll do that Friday. Florida Evans. I love that show, Good Times, man. I'm with a lot of you out there, and this is not a racist thing, but when they came out with the Black Honeymooners, or black renditions of other shows simply because people are black, it just doesn't fit well. And I'll use the opposite. You never recreate Good Times, or the Jeffersons with white people. There are shows that are meant for the culture. I'll give you another one, 90210. I hated that show. I still hate that show. It's almost on the level of Jersey Shore for yours truly. Like Gargano, Tegan Knox broke his TV. I'd allow Tegan Knox to break my TV if I ever had a full episode of Jersey Shore or 90210 airing on my television. But, that show, I don't ever want it recreated with an all-black cast or majority black cast, because that showed you pretty much what Karens were before they became Karens. Just talk about the privilege. I hated that show. There were so many people that I literally just punched them right in the face. I hated that show. And I wasn't jealous either. This is the funny thing about it. My car, I still got my 91 Lincoln. Before that, I had a 95 Eldorado. Yes, I have a newer truck too, but the boat I had up until a year and a half ago was a 1984 Sea Ray Sundancer. And, people used to once in a while say to me, like, why do you have all this old shit? Why do you have to, I even have an arcade game inside with Miss Pac-Man and stuff. Oh, arcades, when we talk about Dynamite tonight. Oh, made me feel like a child again, to see a cameo. And you know what? I think he deserves mentioning right at the beginning of the show. Billy Mitchell makes an appearance. Now, for you young folk out there, you will probably not know who he is, but I will tell you, as an 80s gamer, not an 80s toddler, an 80s gamer, a preteen, young teenager, going to game rooms, seeing the tournaments, the magazines. That guy was legendary, almost godlike. Yes, I know there's some controversy over the years, but, I strongly suggest everybody out there, the documentary from 2007, King Kong, I wrote it down. I just wanted to mention, The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters. It's a great documentary. I mean, it's a little geeky, as far as all these guys competing, and he's in there as well. But, you got to understand something. Miro online is about the Twitch. It's about gaming. It's about having fun. So having Billy Mitchell do a cameo with Miro, it makes sense. I want to see more cameos for people, with Miro, with the bachelor party stuff. Let me also bring up something else that I saw social media getting a little bit pissed off at, or cracking jokes, the comics out there, they're ridiculous. Luther, okay? Luther is going to team up with Serpentico next week to take on Chris Jericho and Jake Hager for the celebration of Jericho's 30th year in wrestling. And right away, and you think I'm exaggerating, just do a search on Twitter or Facebook, type in Luther, Jericho, and put latest, so you can see the latest results. People are like, you mean to tell me, after 30 years and you're hyping this up, fucking Luther? But who gives a shit about Luther? Well, I've talked about it before. When he first appeared in AEW, a lot of you may remember, I gave you a little backdrop on Luther's history. But if you want me to just summarize it in one way, he is Chris Jericho's best friend, I believe. He was also the best man when Chris Jericho, I believe, renewed his wedding vows like a year or two ago. Luther and Chris Jericho are like this. So why not have a real close friend of yours that doesn't get much of an opportunity ever on AEW Dynamite? Why not have one of your close friends have a match? They're going to have a ball. Is it going to be a classic match? No. Is it going to, rank in stars? No. But, there's a little backdrop behind it. So, yeah. So that's a little info that a lot of you out there may not know. And you can school others who think they're stand-up comedians just looking for Twitter likes, But, so there's a little backdrop there. But, like I said, we'll talk about the TakeOver predictions on Friday. Tonight will be mostly Dynamite, NXT, Joey Ryan, a couple other tidbits as well. By the way, happy anniversary, NWA. Today, I believe, is the 1-year anniversary that they started taping episodes of Power. It's amazing that a year has gone by this quick. This is episode 53 of Wednesday Night Dynamite, and I believe I took at least 1 or 2 Wednesdays off. So we're already a year into this. AEW is already a year old. So it's pretty amazing. Now, yes, 2020 feels like it dragged out because of COVID, but when you, in hindsight, think about even the Stadium Stampede match, that was right around WrestleMania time. April, May, June, July, August, September, October. This is like 7-8 months. 7 months. No, 6 or 7 months. Just like that. Just like that. I mean, it doesn't feel like it happened 2 weeks ago. But, if I said 3-4 months, 5 months tops, not 6-7 months. So, the time flies by. And NWA is not a year in the books. You look at their roster from a year ago to now, there's a lot of names that are no longer there. My concern about NWA is, if you remember my prediction in January, and this is before COVID, I said 2020 would be the year of commingling. You'd have promotions working with other promotions because the caliber of free agent talent is not what it was even 5 years ago. I talked about 4 or 5 years ago, if you remember, when NXT started really going balls out with a lot of the wrestlers who are stars today. And I looked at Impact Wrestling and I said, how does WWE get all of these people in NXT? And yes, everybody, the usual goal is to go to WWE. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. But, to see so many names that Impact never even scouted at the time was pretty much laughable. And sure, you had other companies as well, but Impact Wrestling 5 years ago, look at the ratings from 5 years ago and look at it now. It's unreal how much of their viewers they have lost. And they're trying. They're absolutely trying. They have Victory Road this Saturday. I actually have the card here. Let me give you the lineup because, quite honestly, this is kind of like they got Bound for Glory in October. And this almost feels like, crap. We got a pay-per-view now between now and Bound for Glory. It just feels like they're just going through the motions to get to Bound for Glory, especially when they announced today that this big tag team match for Bound for Glory, Vinga, you didn't even have Victory Road yet, and you're already talking about the next pay-per-view? You know, but anyway, you got Eric Young versus Eddie Edwards for the Impact Heavyweight title. All right, whatever. Deonna Purrazzo versus Susie. If you know the storyline with Susie, transitioning a little bit. Su Young, Susie, you know, I like her for various reasons. But, you know, for the Knockouts title, I am a fan of Deonna Purrazzo. And I said when the day WWE released her that she is going to show the wrestling world that WWE just absolutely made a bad call. And Impact Wrestling is capitalized, and Deonna Purrazzo absolutely has a chip on her shoulder. But you could see that, and I'm sorry if this insults anybody out there, this is just opinion, observation, but this feels like Impact Wrestling trying to replace Tessa Blanchard. This is their Tessa Blanchard 2.0. Sure, it's not for the overall heavyweight championship, but it feels like they you know, Tessa Blanchard left. All right, we're going to give Deonna Purrazzo the Tessa Blanchard treatment. She is excellent, you know, but she's not at that Tessa Blanchard level yet. And I know a lot of you out there don't like Tessa Blanchard for the obvious reasons, the controversy with La Rosa Negra and everything else, but start thinking about her name again. Triple H had a conference call today hyping up TakeOver, and the three things, and if you notice, I'm not looking at notes right now, I'm just doing everything from the memory. The three things that stood out to me as far as what he said is, number one, TakeOver this weekend is actually going to look a little bit different. I don't want Thunderdome for NXT events. It's not going to be Thunderdome, but I don't want Thunderdome. No fucking way. No way. They're going to do a little bit of a setup. Some people actually think they might even allow some fans in. You know, because Triple H is teasing that it's going to look a little bit different. Who knows? I personally think, you know, if you're going to let some fans in, you know, you got to do it for more than just NXT. If you want to start off with NXT and you want to do testing and this and that, fine. You know, because you got to remember something. This is a game changer. This is a game changer with fans going to wrestling events again, especially big events. I don't know if you're aware of this, but 2 days ago, they came out with a new test. All right? This is not pro or anti-Trump. This is just a new test that came out. You know, remember what I have said multiple times. You know, when you got people saying that they don't trust the vaccine if it comes out, but they'll trust it if someone else is president, no matter if this person is president or this person is president, or even Donkey Kong is president, the same scientists are making the vaccine. They're not going to fire all of the scientists and hire new ones. So when this vaccine comes out, it's going to be a big deal. But the game changer now is they came out with a new test, a rapid test, and it's not expensive. If you want to buy it yourselves, I could buy it right now. So can you. You go to Quest Diagnostics website, because I always do my research, and you know, you might have to pay in excess of $50, $100, but they'll actually now ship the kit to your house. You don't even have to go to a lab anymore or a doctor's office. They ship it to your house, and you take the Q-tip. You don't have to stick it all the way up your nose so it looks like it's about to come out of your ears. You only have to, and I want to be a little sanitary here, so I'm not going to demonstrate, but you take the Q-tip, and you just barely go inside the nostril up here, and you just go like this 2-3 times. Then you go like this in the other nostril 2-3 times, and then you take it and you put it on something with like some liquid, and 15 minutes later you know your result. Now, the at-home test, you actually send it to a lab. But the rapid tests that are coming out now, and they're shipping, you know, tons of them already, AEW is going to get their hands on them. WWE is going to get their hands on them. So they can literally test everybody who is online and 15, 30 minutes before the show. Now, obviously, this is not going to happen overnight. You have to have this organized. You know, you have to have a plan. You know, do you have, I don't know if any of you out there have ever gotten the COVID test done through a drive-through. I took my fiance to get it done, and I'm so mad they would not let you video. I wanted to video her crying that they stuck the thing all the way up her nose. It was coming out of the top of her head. She wasn't crying, but she was complaining. I wanted to record it just for laughs, memories. But, when you sat in the car, you sat probably for about a half an hour, and you're going through this long line, and then you get up to the thing, and they tell you to keep your windows up, and they zap your phone or the barcode, and then at the very last minute, the doctor puts gloves on top of gloves. He's got a mask and he's got the plastic thing over him. He tells you to roll your window down only halfway, and he goes up there and he puts it in a vial, and that's it, you leave. So they could do something like that. If they have a parking lot, they could literally, you enter the parking lot, everybody in the car gets a test done, and they put a sticker on your car with you. And I'm just brainstorming an idea. I'm not saying that this is the way it's going to go, but if you remember my idea in February or March about drive-ins, I thought that was a wonderful idea. So they could literally test everybody in the car. You put the sticker on the car so they know what number it is, and then they put it and they run the test in like a tent or something, and by the time you get to the front of the line, they know your results. And if everybody's clear of COVID, you could go through and you could go inside the building. And I know what some of you are going to say, well, that's awfully expensive to do. I don't mean to be a jerk, but put the tickets on sale $10 more. Hey, you want to go to wrestling live again, WWE or AEW? You know what? You got to pay $10 more. Cover part of the expense of the test. I think that's a fair trade-off. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, getting back to Tessa Blanchard, another thing that Triple H said on the conference call is that the women's division, they're going to focus more on the women's division. And he pretty much said that there's going to be some new names coming. Now, I don't immediately think that every new name is outside the company. I have brought up before, you know what? Put Mickie James in NXT. Put Naomi in NXT. Some women that are not being utilized at all, put them in NXT, and maybe you also bring up a couple of names from NXT. Shake it up a little bit. I personally think, and I said this 2 weeks ago, when when Tessa Blanchard, see I'm mixing the two again, when Tessa Blanchard lost that belt, I said, I think she's on her way to a company. Don't know which one. I will repeat myself when I say I think she's better suited for AEW, especially because WWE, you look at all of the women on the food chain, and I just can't picture Tessa Blanchard leapfrogging every single one of those women. And even if you leapfrog most of them, you still have other women from Rhea Ripley, Io Shirai, and others that are going to be very, very difficult to hop over. So I think Tessa Blanchard is NXT bound. And we might even know by this weekend, because everybody is focusing on Bo Dallas. By the way, shout out to all those websites last week that said that teaser video for October 4th for NXT TakeOver was Bobby Roode. Good job. But a lot of you out there also said Bo Dallas. Some websites and podcasters said Bo Dallas too. So did yours truly. Some, a lot of people did get it right. We don't even know if it's Bo Dallas yet. Some people now are thinking, well, maybe it's not even a man at all. Maybe it's a woman. Why can't it be both? Now, I don't mean that the reveal is someone who is half man, half woman. He could bang himself, get himself pregnant, or herself pregnant, or itself pregnant. What do you say? Thyself? I don't know. But why not have Bo Dallas return and Tessa Blanchard return? I think some people don't realize that Tessa Blanchard had a couple of matches for WWE. But as far as champions go, I think Bo Dallas is the name. But if Tessa Blanchard shows up in NXT, you probably have Tessa Blanchard and Rhea Ripley, or Tessa Blanchard and Io Shirai almost immediately. So that's a big deal. So we'll talk about TakeOver on Friday with predictions, but I'm starting to think now you might actually get Tessa Blanchard on TakeOver. We'll see. Look, man, I know, and I saw her statement that she posted a week ago. It was basically in retrospect and, talking about where she's been and, getting married and everything else. And then she's pretty much, telling everyone, look, I'm not a racist. I'm not this and not that and blah, blah. And I didn't even bring it up only because it really was nothing revealed in it. It almost felt like she had, in her thinking was, she has to put out some statement now before she ends up in an organization. Because that statement that she wrote, she would not write it if she was already in NXT. If she was already in AEW. But I think she threw it out there now just to maybe reassure some people who are on the fence about her. I don't know. But, just get used to it. Not everybody in wrestling is an altar boy. Not everybody in wrestling is the nicest person in the world. And this is not a knock on Tessa Blanchard. I'm just saying in a general sense. She could have very well said what she said to La Rosa Negra. She could have very well did. But there's also possibility that she may have learned from that and matured. You can't just forgive and support the ones that only the ones you like. If you're outraged about everybody. If you're willing to give someone a second chance, you got to give it for everyone. You can't cherry pick, because that just shows the people are insincere. You're mixing up your fandomhood with the actual situations going on. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, getting back to the shows tonight, and you know what? Before we praise Eddie Kingston again, let me just read you the matches for Impact for Saturday, because it's really not much, to be honest. No disrespect intended. Eric Young versus Eddie Edwards for the Impact Heavyweight title. Deonna Purrazzo versus Susie for the Knockouts title. Heath Miller, and Rhino versus Reno Scum, an unsanctioned tag team match. If you know about the match for Bound for Glory, I think we know what the outcome is going to be in this match. Tommy Dreamer versus Brian Myers. Jordan Grace versus Tennille Dashwood. And Rohit Raju versus to be announced for the Impact X Division Championship. It's not a bad card, but even as a house show, I'm not too sure if I would attend it. So it's not a very strong event, but it is going to take place October 3rd. And everybody on the card is going to bust their ass. So if you're a fan of Impact and you have the capability of watching it, please do. Don't pass it up simply because EC3's not on it, or Moose, or Gallows and Anderson. No, I mean, there's enough talent on there to enjoy it, but is it something that you would pay premium money for? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, getting back to the shows tonight, and we'll talk about Dynamite first. Shout out to the no-name big Eddie Kingston fan, and we'll call you Eddie. He's becoming an Eddie Kingston fan every time he sees him. Untouchable on the mic, and could cut a promo on anyone or anything like Sour Patch Kids on BTE. That is great. Look, I've said it before. We lost Xavier this year. God rest his soul. I know a lot of you remember who he is. Now, was he one of my favorites? No. But I had the privilege, being on the Northeast, watching Xavier wrestle for 20 years. He actually worked shows that I was on as well. Really, really good guy. Really good guy. And it's just so tragic that he died that early. But Eddie Kingston is another one that I have been spoiled in New York, watching Eddie Kingston throughout his entire career. And sure, he may not have the quintessential physical makeup that would be your, wrestler that, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's not much of a gimmick to him. I mean, his character is based on a lot of reality. That's his gimmick. But on the mic, very underappreciated or just, underutilized in other companies. Anybody that goes back with me a year on this show when he was still in NWA, how many times did we talk about, man, Eddie Kingston knocked it out of the park tonight with the promos? I want to see Homicide in AEW for one match. One match. I want to see Homicide, even if it's Homicide versus Eddie Kingston. I want to see Homicide in AEW for one match. I don't know if we'll ever get that, but I hope they change up the faction a little bit. I know a lot of you out there remember when I said Lucha Bros, Eddie Kingston, Ivelisse. That would be a nice reuniting, and they would tear it up. You could add Diamante as well. No reason why they can't tweak that. I'm sorry, man. The Butcher and the Blade, nothing against them, and I'm not going to lie. I'm actually fans of them now. I actually liked them. Now, did I really care to see the Butcher in the main event tonight? I'm very curious to see what the quarter-hour ratings look like for that match. I mean, Moxley is strong, but Moxley has not popped unbelievable. You don't see Moxley having big rating spikes because he's on. We all knew Moxley was wrestling in the main event tonight. So if you had fans that were watching just NXT, but they wanted to see Moxley, then you expect them to change the channel for the AEW main event. I don't believe we're going to see that spike. We haven't. I see more and more people say, you know what, Mox is champion. I'm not feeling it as much as should. I always, when people say that to me, I always remind them we are still in COVID era. And there are wrestlers notably absent. Pac is the first one that comes to mind. There's wrestlers notably absent. There's opportunities. They have to extend storylines much longer than they normally do. Look at WWE. I mean, Sasha Banks and Bayley, that was supposed to be a battle at WrestleMania. We're 8 months later and they still haven't had their bout. So, so Eddie Kingston, man, that's why when he did that interview a week or two ago, I think with Jericho, and he said that WWE had contacted him about going to their company. I'm sorry, man. I close my eyes. I really do that. I close my eyes and I just picture Eddie Kingston in an NXT ring. And he would be so watered down. Like everything, he could do his own style. But WWE is going to give him specific bullet points that he cannot go tweak away from. And not only that, it's not just who is in the camp with Eddie Kingston. It's who they're against as well. And, you picture Eddie Kingston in NXT right now. Who would he be cutting promos on? Damien Priest. Damien Priest is so cool for school. They ain't going to let him get one over. You could see AEW making some of their steps a lot looser. They're not completing things like they used to. MJF. I brought up about the paradigm shift. Moxley using it anyway. But yet, common sense in the storyline, that should have been brought up the following Dynamite by MJF and his lawyer. Eddie Kingston never lost in the Battle Royal. Why? Where's that opportunity? And you see last week, never tapped out to the Bulldog submission. And they brought that up again tonight. So you see people losing, with question mark or commas at the end or ... instead of just a period or an exclamation point. So I'm on board, man, with Eddie Kingston. He's perfect in his role. He doesn't need gold, but that guy can do it all, and he's great in the ring as well. So that was a good grab by AEW. Same person, not sure why it didn't show up, but he's the Unknown Kingston fan. I don't know why it didn't come up. I think I know why. I'm sorry. I think that's my fault. You know what? Will this work? There we go. You know what? Let's use that one. So it was Puffy 89. I said Eddie. It was close. It was close. So yeah, Puffy 89. You know what it was? I always tweak things. Always trying to make things better. And yeah, that's my doing. But I fixed it. I kind of feel bad now. You didn't have to send two to clear it up, but I owe you. Seriously, I definitely owe you one. But Eddie Kingston is knocking it out of the park. What he says is believable, and it's not too over the top, not controversial. And by the way, did you notice tonight how AEW substantially cut back on the vulgar language? We picked up on that 3-4 weeks ago, and little by little, they are cutting out as many expletives as they possibly can. Things still slip out here and there, but that was something that Warner Media told AEW, cut down on the cursing. And, you know, did anybody even notice tonight that it was substantially less than maybe even 2 months ago? It's not a big deal. You don't have to curse to be entertaining. Hell, you know me. I'm trying not to curse because, you know, I'm trying to get missed opportunities, you know, going further on certain networks. And I already cursed twice tonight. I even dropped an F-bomb, but, you know, it's different. I mean, but they don't have to curse to be good. But, yeah, I mean, it's Eddie Kingston is rock solid on the mic, and Cody's promo tonight as well. I really loved Cody's promo, getting really passionate about Brodie Lee. It's going to be an absolute war next week. I have nothing against Brandy. But we have said this for about 10 months. You didn't notice the first couple of months because they were trying to, you know, we were trying to see where everybody fits in as far as their weekly TV show. But for 10 months, we have brought up how the people who, with all respect intended, who really truly bust their ass and work extremely hard to make AEW work. There's a lot of wrestlers on TV who work behind the scenes, and yes, more than one paycheck, but they earn their pay, no question. But you see, and we've talked about this for 10 months, how some people who really work hard behind the scenes are rewarded on TV a lot more than they should. I mean, nothing against Brandy. Again, I'm not criticizing her, but, you know, I'm just telling it as I saw it as a fan. When they did that whole Nightmare Collective thing and they're doing all those vignettes and, you know, highly produced, like I said, it looked like she was trying to build a resume to go on the CW network, if that even exists still. What was the vampire TV story? The vampire, oh, yeah, no, who that? Yeah, we'll talk about him in a second. But what was that TV show that we felt like she was trying out for? They had these big segments. Where is Awesome Kong? You know, I mean, she was getting so much, not only TV time, but highly produced vignettes. Vampire Diaries, yeah, I think that could be it. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Buffy's now, like, I don't know, she's older. You know, I'm nothing against age, obviously. But you see, you know, Cody has got pyros that should be the AEW's version of WrestleMania pyros. I mean, you see the certain people getting so much more pomp and circumstance. QT Marshall. I mean, who that? Look at it now. Granted, they haven't done as much the last bunch of weeks, but that could be simply his decision. But he's got Allin, he's got DDP, you know, he leaves the move to him in a will and he's not even dead yet. And, you know, this guy's getting all this storyline and beatdowns and angles and he's getting laid out in the ring and we're like, we don't care. Nothing against him. You know, Michael Nakazawa is the guy that I want to see more on TV, and I don't know why. I'm curious if standards and practices in Warner Media said hell no to some of Michael Nakazawa's antics. because they are over the top. I mean, it's not like he's never been on Dynamite, but it's watered down quite a bit. And tonight, Brandy, who's really, I mean, yeah, seriously, I even think if she jumped off the Empire State Building and Joey 924 was in the street wheeling himself to a hot dog cart, and he looked up and Brandy was coming down from the Empire State Building, I think he could stick out his arms, and I think Brandy would fall in his lap, and she'd be like, oh, thank you. Hey, you want a hot dog? Like, she's so small and lightweight, and she doesn't have that experience, and she lays out like, Dark Orders, 5, 20, 30, 69, 102, all these members of the Dark Order. It's just, and again, if that wasn't Brandy, no one else on that roster would be rewarded to do something like that. But again, they work so hard behind the scenes, you gotta let it go. But it's so noticeable. I mean, look at the storyline with the Young Bucks. We've talked about this for a month now. Every other person who puts their hands on an official is someone else. Tony Khan, in storyline, social media, TV, suspended, this and that. But Young Bucks, fined, and they still keep going. Like I said, remember my crazy idea. Imagine if Tony Khan becomes a character on TV and he is like the Eric Bischoff, and I'm wondering if the Elite is going to be reformed, repackaged, and the Elite is going to include the Young Bucks and FTR. You see that dynamic with FTR and the Young Bucks that almost doesn't make sense. FTR are heels, and the Young Bucks, they super kick Shivani, this, and even FTR tonight, hey, why do you do that to him? I think ultimately the Young Bucks and FTR might be Elite 2.0. I don't know if it's going to happen, but the Young Bucks heavily favored. Now, they also have earned it for the AEW fans because their ratings are strong. But this is how many weeks now that they're really not doing much in the ring, and they're doing these backstage segments. And again, it looks it's very glaring to see how they, in storyline, they treat people who put their hands on an official. But the Young Bucks, we fine them. What's Tony Khan going to do this week? We're going to fine them $300,000. If they are going to do stupid stuff, they're fining $10,000, $100,000. If they're going to do that, the thing that keeps floating through my head as Tony Khan's typing this on social media right before he hit send, what keeps ringing in my head is when a fan asks Cody if they're ever going to have a general manager, somebody who can actually book the matches on TV, and when two people are arguing in a ring, somebody comes out and they make the match. Makes sense. And Cody's answer to that fan is, fans know that GMs don't really have authority. We're not going to insult their intelligence. The fuck you doing with this Young Bucks storyline, insulting people's intelligence? You see, when you actually start breaking this down, hey, Cody, knock, knock. Who's there? Reality. This is sports entertainment. It's entertainment. He can't take one thing so seriously and everything else, it's just lighthearted. So anyway, with that said, let's talk a little bit more about AEW Dynamite tonight. Anybody out there feel like maybe the Shivani segment was pre-recorded? Because, basically Shivani's in the back with FTR, and then he gets super kicked, and the whole night Taz is on commentary. I wonder if that was pre-recorded. Maybe Shivani had to do some stuff locally because of baseball or playoffs or something. So I have a feeling they may have done that as a pre-recorded segment. Yeah, Metallica, he agrees. I'm not complaining about it at all. But, it felt like it was pre-recorded. Now, I will say this, and you know me, I'm a fan of both AEW and NXT. I praise who I feel deserves to be praised, and I'll criticize who deserves to be criticized. I'm a big fan of Taz. You know, even before he was ever hired in AEW, 3 weeks into that show, I said they need a heel commentator. You can't have Shabani, Excalibur, and Jim Ross every week. Oh, that was so good. That was so great. Oh, man, that was so unbelievable. That was wonderful. Tope Suicida. That was awesome. No, we need a wise ass. Constructive catalyst. I've been wanting Taz on that prior. But tonight, I got annoyed by one thing. Ricky Starks and Darby Allin opened up AEW Dynamite today. Had a great match. Great match. There was one point where they were doing some reversals in the ring. Darby Allin ran the ropes. And Ricky Starks hit him with a beautiful spear. I mean, they replayed it a couple of times, and deservingly so. And the match was very good. These are definitely two big stars in AEW's future. I know you could say that they're stars now, obviously, but they're going to be even further on the food chain in the future. As long as Darby Allin cuts back on being Darby Dumbass. Because if you follow my show on a regular basis, you already know that I have focused on two people. One from AEW and one from NXT. That I am very concerned about with some of their stuff. Now, I have ripped Darby Allin for some of the vignettes. The bridge one was just absolutely asinine that they did that. But putting that aside, Darby Allin, if you look closely, takes some whacked out risks during matches. You know, to be so over the top, there's a reason why some things aren't done, because it's too risky for injury. And just because you think you could do something, or it looks cool, or you make it and you land properly, you still have very high. Why do you think they call them high-risk maneuvers? Just jumping off the top rope could be a high-risk maneuver. He does things that it's not like Sabu from back in the day that you hold your breath. No, you look at some of this stuff and you're like, that was a cool spot, but that guy is a serious injury waiting to happen. And I still feel that way about Darby Allin. They are reeling him in a little bit, and that is absolutely needed. But Darby Allin and Ricky Starks tore it up tonight, had a great match. And I'm getting to the person in NXT because this person proved me once again of what I've said in the past. We'll get to her in a moment. But what irked me about this match, not that Ricky Starks lost. No problem at all. I mean, Ricky Starks got knocked out. He was in the center of the ring. Darby Allin climbed the rope, hit the coffin drop on Ricky Starks' back, turned him around, and pinned him. What pissed me off about this match is all of the promos that Taz has cut on Darby Allin in the past. And when Darby Allin got the win, go back and watch it. Taz was not happy, obviously, but he sounded like a fucking commentator. That guy should have been livid, yelling, screaming, even storming off during the commercial break, and then he cools down, and I'm back, all right, I'm back, and this, that. He even said, did I write it down? Yeah, he even said, that was a hell of a match. That was a hell of a match. Your fucking guy just lost to Darby Allin. You should be livid. You had Brian Cage come out early in the night, and Will Hobbs is a beast, but I don't know if Will Hobbs is on that level, and obviously they're trying to bring him on that level, but watching him and Brian Cage brawl to the back, just, I don't know, just didn't click for me. But Taz not being extremely livid, I thought that was pretty, I don't know, that was Shotzi. That was just really Shotzi. And I don't mean her. I mean, it was just, full of holes. Sloppy. So Darby Allin gets the win. And then we find out later on that next week, Will Hobbs is going to take on Brian Cage for the FTW Championship. Gee, I wonder what the outcome of that match is going to be. But Taz should have been a hell of a lot more pissed. Project. And this is a good project, but I think they are putting a lot of weight on his shoulders that I think is a little bit unnecessary. That guy, in my opinion, should be winning squash matches. See what Britt Baker tonight versus Red Velvet wasn't a great match. Britt Baker didn't, she was fine. Will Hobbs should be having matches like that. Will Hobbs should be featured every week. Will Hobbs, Shotzi, yeah. What did I say, Shotzi? Yeah, Shotzi, yeah. But I say Shotzi. You're right. You're absolutely right, Benjamin. But Will Hobbs, they should have done a little bit more where he's winning squash matches. And maybe he's got admirers. Maybe Taz is scoping him out. Not that way. Scoping him out. Maybe Tully Blanchard is scoping him out. By the way, where's Arn Anderson and his clipboard and his sweaters? He could be scoping him out. I'm not saying to do a Macho Man Randy Savage circa 85, but you can have various managers, just seen on the rampway. Hey, blah, blah, blah is watching Will Hobbs, nodding his head, Do that for a couple of weeks. Build him up. Not just so he feels like some random guy like when they did that pull apart a couple of weeks ago, like they needed a third person, and like Tony Khan's looking in the back and he's like, who can we put out there? Where is everybody? Hobbs, out there. That's what it feels like. And it's nothing against Will Hobbs, but they should have done it differently, in my opinion. So, anyway, it was a hell of a match. So Cody comes out for his promo, and he brings up Al Snow, who trained him. And Al Snow told him once that, be prepared that you will wrestle hurt, but you should never wrestle injured. Big difference. Hurt, soreness, bumps, bruises, that's hurt. Injured is what Shotzi Blackheart almost did to herself again tonight. And anybody who follows these shows knows that I am a big fan of Shotzi Blackheart, not because of what she used to sell for $5 a pop, but you could see, and look, I said it last week, she is one of the biggest cheerleaders for NXT and WWE. You want more Shotzi Blackhearts in your company. She just is such a big supporter. She's just bright, energy, smiles, good. You just see her and you smile. Some people might do something else, but she's really a bright part of NXT. But she takes some really, really careless moves. Who was the interview? Wasn't Randy Orton. Remember Randy Orton did that interview and he was throwing some shade towards NXT, and he did a follow-up and he was talking about some of the careless spots going on? That interview, I believe, took place a week after or less than a week after Shotzi Blackheart did, I think it was her version of the coffin drop outside the ring, and she just went splat. She went splat. Tonight again, very, very scary. Very scary. And Darby Allin, Shotzi Blackheart are the two people that I've been saying on this show for quite some time now, that I am concerned more than anybody else, that I think that they're a lot closer to getting a serious injury than you think. And it's you got to be concerned. They're uber talented. That's the thing. They're so talented. They don't need to do some of the things that they do. So anyway, Cody cuts his promo, and he said that it hurt to lose his TNT championship in less than 3 minutes. He brought up Moxley's reign. He brought up Hikaru Shida, and he mentions Brodie Lee. And, he's talking about how he got the call to Hollywood. And originally, he says no. He declines Brodie Lee's challenge for the TNT Championship strap match. He's walking down the rampway. You kind of feel like, he's going to turn around because we don't want this to drag out till November. He turns around, he goes back to Dasha, and he's like, when he said no, he meant no regrets, no holding back, and next week he accepts the challenge, him versus Brodie Lee, and there's where everything just falls off the rails. Brodie Lee enters the ring. I got to get a green outfit like that. It's like a lime green outfit. I got to get something like that. Look at this. Look at what I'm wearing tonight. Look at this. I mean, I don't know. Just having fun, man. Like I said, you look at social media, man. People getting a like or a follow back, that makes like their week. Seriously. I mean, that's what your highlight is of the day or the week. I try to have highlights. I get up in the morning, I get a nice text message from my fiance, call my mom, make sure she's all right, my father. I got the bird inside sleeping right now. I go to work, I still got customers. I come home, scale, weight's not going up. I do the show for all of you, interact with all of you, DMs, chats, super chats, emails. I mean, come on. This is fun, and I think some people are way too into themselves. And, look, there's nothing wrong with being into yourself. But when you realize that those people are just hiding almost everything about themselves, I mean, that just shows you. I mean, they're garbage. But, Brodie Lee comes to the ring, and he's with the Dark Order, and they're beating up on Cody, and Brandy for the save. Brandy for the save dives onto the Dark Order. Then Allin, Nyla Rose, Kylan King come out, and it's just everything goes off the rails. Big pull apart. Look, clusterfucks like that are like car accidents. Or it's like a police chase you see on TV. It's live, during the day. You might come home for lunch, you might come home from school, maybe you're not working or you're sick that day, and you turn on the news just to see what's going on in the world, and you see, oh, right now we're live on blah, blah, blah freeway, and this person's trying to get away from the cops, and you can't, look away. And I hate to be morbid, but I think we all agree. We always want those car chases to end with somebody totally flipping their cars a la Fast and the Furious. Just some wild ending. Nobody wants the car to just pull over and get out of the car or go like this. And no, you want to see major fuckery going on. So that's pretty much what we got after Cody accepted the challenge. It is what it is. So now we got Shivani interviewing FTR backstage, and as we said earlier, was the pre-recorded segment. Wow, we're actually going to finish the show on time today. I see it already. And that's awesome, man, because, I'm going to be back in 48 hours. And we might even do a takeover recap. I'm kind of leaning towards that. In fact, I probably will. I actually have decided I will. So, we're going to be back here twice within the next 3 days. So he's backstage with Tully Blanchard and FTR, and they're talking about their match later on, and they brought up last week about best friends. Then Shivani brings up the Young Bucks, and then Matt Jackson enters and nails a super kick to Tony Schiavone, and you could see they had the camera. I mean, they normally have the camera halfway, but they make sure you don't see the floor. They don't want you to see Tony knocked out, because Tony falls backwards in a beautiful bed of pillows. Because look, Tony is not a spring chicken, and I absolutely agree with that. You don't want the guy to fall and hurt his hip or something like that. So you take precautions. But, he did the super kick. Tony falls back. FTR is like, why did you do that? Right here. And I'm telling you, man, it just smells like FTR, Young Bucks, the new elite. The new elite. That kind of feels like what it's going to be. We will see what happens. Dasha interviewing SCU. Sean Spears, mocking them a little bit. Sean Spears did commentary on AEW Dark. And he's not bad. He's not bad at all. I don't know if they're going to use him more in commentary. Might be the way to go. He really doesn't do all that bad. But next we have FTR retaining the tag titles, beating SCU. Match was great. I love when how to utilize some of the cameras sometimes. You saw that one camera in the corner, and Cash gets thrown into the corner, and he lands like his crotch in the middle rope in your face. You know for a fact that upcoming commercials for AEW Dynamite, they are taking that clip. That will be in commercials, or maybe even the intro in the future. Great visual, and it was a great match. The funny thing about it is, and again, I'm not trying to stir things up, but I do get a good laugh out of the comparisons because people have brought it up to me. And when people first brought it up to me, I was like, what are you talking about? And then I looked at it and I was like, okay, that is kind of funny. You have Hangman Page in the commentary booth today, and Hangman is not, really solid on commentary. But he's not bad, and basically they have him on commentary during the FTR SCU match. And basically what the storyline is that when Kenny Omega was on commentary, Kenny Omega doesn't want to be a duo anymore with Hangman Page. He wants to be solo. He wants to go further. He wants to better himself. He wants to, win a heavyweight championship, be a singles guy. And Hangman Page, with all due respect, this is a guy that they had riding on a horse, drinking whiskey, drinking people's beers, which won't happen, anytime soon for sanitary and health reasons. But they have him on commentary, and they're like, this is pretty much what the storyline is. Your tag partner doesn't want to tag with you anymore, but, you keep insisting that, you hope to get back together. And it's making Hangman Page come across as desperate, like can't accept reality. And I know that's not what they're intending to do, but at the very end, when FTR retains their titles, and Tully Blanchard got involved, he tripped up Scorpio Sky, held his foot. Come on, man, that's old school brain busters, Bobby Heenan. That's what you expect with this trio. It was awesome. And again, best friends, Young Bucks, well, not really Young Bucks yet, but Private Party, SCU. It shows you that FTR can actually hang with high flyers. They don't need to do the flips. It's been a really, really nice blend. They have really worked it out well. And it goes to show you also that flippy doesn't always win. It's been a really nice blend. But so after the match is over, they announced that there's going to be an 8-man tournament for an AEW World Title shot with the finals at the Full Gear pay-per-view. And tonight they announced that Rey Fenix, Jungle Boy, and Kenny Omega are the first 3 entries in this tournament. So when Hangman Page heard that Kenny Omega put his name in a hat, put his name in to try to get a world title shot, Hangman Page was upset and he stormed off because he wants the team together. Kenny Omega keeps saying, I want to do my own thing. And Hangman Page won't let it go. So that's pretty much the storyline. And it was, again, I'm not trying to stir anything up, but people are like DT. I could actually think of some other scenarios where that kind of fits exactly the same. And you know what it's like? Remember the scene in Goodfellas? Where they're all having dinner? Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci, and Robert De Niro. They're at the mom's house, Joe Pesci's mom's house. They're eating like pasta and meatballs at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And she takes out the picture of the white-haired guy with the dog. You can't tell if he's coming or going. And I think Robert De Niro, he's eating. He's like, looks like someone we know. And Joe Pesci's looking at him and he's like, this storyline with Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, that is the same thing of Robert De Niro basically saying, oh, looks like someone we know. And Joe Pesci's like, what? Come on, man. Gotta have fun. Laughs, smiles, positive. Not soft and not woke. Just enjoying ourselves. Having some fun. So, Chris Jericho beats Isiah Kassidy. Extremely competitive match. I don't think the outcome was anything other than what we thought it would be. Once again, and I have said this for about 6 months now, Jericho and Matt Hardy are doing so much for the young guys. And believe me when I tell you, 20 years ago, if it was a Sunday Night Heat, Thunder, Velocity, Superstars, you would have a wrestler pretty much squash another wrestler. Or you would have like a main event. And it really wouldn't be like, really even match. But you would feature like a big name and one person. It's not. This is different because even one match, like Jungle Boy, Jericho helped Jungle Boy just a little bit. Jericho helps Orange Cassidy just a little bit. Jericho even helped a little bit with Marco Stunt a little bit. Jericho helping Isiah Kassidy a little bit. I mean, Matt Hardy and Chris Jericho, these young guys are not going to be main eventers tomorrow. You don't know. Somebody could bulk up. Somebody could go singles. As far as the tag teams go, people could change their characters dramatically in a couple of years. I mean, a lot of wrestlers that are big stars today, whether it's WWE, AEW, NXT, Impact, MLW, the older stars that are big stars today, you look at them 5-10 years ago, and their character may be totally different than what they're doing now. So them helping these guys get a little bit more, seasoning and getting noticed and having high-profile matches. Almost all these times, Jericho's going to get the win. But having a match where someone actually could go toe-to-toe, that helps. That helps. And they had a great match. Mystery Man, as far as a politics show, like I said, I'm going to be having that discussion with Joe Numbers. A lot of people are pushing for me and Kenny Bolin to go at it. The thing is, after yesterday, I'm not happy with either person. So, I don't want to be forced to be on one totally different side of the coin. And I don't want to defend things that are not defendable. You understand? So we'll see. Let's see what happens next week, and we'll go from there. I'm all for doing something, but I don't do things just to do it. I want to do it and be top-notch, or don't do it at all. Don't like doing half-assed jobs, So anyway, Isiah Kassidy got a lot of offense in on Jericho. You had the inner circle at ringside. You had Matt Hardy and Quinn at ringside. And he went for a springboard, but Jericho, got him with the Judas effect, gets the win. After the match was over, Inner Circle tries to attack Isiah Kassidy. Matt Hardy saves him with a chair. And then we have Chris Jericho and Jake Hager brawling with Serpentico and Luther. And, you know, they look, those guys are not going to suddenly be with Private Party and Matt Hardy. But that was a way to get from point A to point B. Next week, 1 second. It's actually getting cold in here for a change. That was a way to get to point A to point B, which is next week, Jericho's match. How do we get to Jericho and Hager versus Serpentico and Dr. Luther? That's how they did it. No complaints, no complaints. Now we have Miro and Kip Sabian. They're in a game arcade and talking about his bachelor party. And, you know, he wanted to have a Rumspringa, I think it's called, but couldn't because of the pandemic. And then we get the cameo by Billy Mitchell, as I said before. You know, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Again, I know the controversy, but me, I'm a guy a little bit older that grew up in the 80s as a teen going to game rooms. Anybody, especially on a Patreon, have heard me talk about the stories of Super Amusement. When I first went to college, St. John's University, I would cut out of class and go to game rooms and just play video games all day long. And this guy is legendary. And it made sense for one reason. And people need to understand this. Miro is not 22 years old. And Miro, he's a gamer. And everybody talks about him gaming, and he's making some nice cash online gaming. AEW is allowing him to do that. That's actually part of the deal. They're letting him have side work, and you know what? That helps AEW because AEW does not have to pay as much money. You know, so basically, if AEW said to Miro, "Look, we don't want you twitching or gaming and this and that," that's a big revenue. I don't even know if they could legally do that, but that's a big revenue to lose. So if AEW is not going to pay him that revenue, then let him do it. So when you think of iconic people who have been in gaming and they're in a game room, and Miro's always on Twitch gaming, there's not many names that you could bring out there, especially in that neck of the woods. So bringing Billy Mitchell out there, I could honestly say I would say 80% of AEW fans probably had no idea who that guy is. But when you understand the age, how old Miro is, and about being a gamer and growing up with video games, that guy's legendary. That guy is legendary. So I liked it. It was cool. No controversy. People trying to throw into my face, he's a cheater. He's a cheater. And the funny thing is, you could look on my profile online. I had a few people immediately, he's a cheater, he's a fraud. Every single person that did that, except for one, has fake pictures on their profiles. I mean, you have social media frauds, with all due respect, you have social media frauds telling me about other frauds. Every single one of you, every day, let's move on. And once again, like I said, The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters. That's definitely a documentary that you don't want to miss. I don't know. Look, they're going to be doing these segments for numerous weeks. You know, Miro's not going to be wrestling as much as before right now. They're still in the pandemic. And for those with videos saying that it's buffering really bad, my connection is fine. I have no alerts on here. So if you're getting buffering, that's a YouTube thing. That's not mine. I apologize. But you didn't miss anything. And I do appreciate when you type that. Because if I see a bunch of you saying that it's buffering a little bit, then I'll kind of milk a conversation. Like I'll take something that should only be 30 seconds and maybe talk about it for 2 minutes. So you're not missing anything. But no, but Benjamin, the buffering is definitely not on my end. It's not. I'm looking at everything, and the meters are fine. But all I said pretty much is, you know, that guy is a legend in gaming, whether you like him or not. And if you want to see a movie that you might find interesting. I actually like the movie. It is geeky. It is absolutely geeky. And you know what's geeky about it, with all due respect to this guy? When you see people now in their 50s and almost 60 talking about when they used to game in 1983, and they're all going to these conventions, and, like the way that they treat it, it looks like a nerd convention. Absolutely. But it is a fun thing to check out. Go watch it. And I believe it's free on like Amazon Prime and some other areas. So Orange Cassidy beating 10. To me, this was just a waist match. Big waist match. I don't know, man. Orange Cassidy, it's weird how they use him sometimes. Yeah, I agree with you, Metallica. Why aren't they using Abaddon? I mean, that's a woman. Yes, she's on AEW Dark a lot. But that's a woman. See, this is why I don't like AEW Dark. When they include your wins and losses on AEW Dark, she's got one of the most impressive records, and meanwhile, she's not on Dynamite. That's a woman that would be so, not even controversial, but she's such a spectacle with her makeup and her setup. I mean, why would you not want to showcase that on your television? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. So I don't get Abaddon and the way that they're using her. She's got a following. Her merchandise is selling well. I even have one of her AEW shirts. I wore it one time on the shows. I don't know why they're not utilizing her right now. Doesn't make sense. But then again, you got to understand too, it's a 2-hour show, and you have to have the usual suspects on TV every week, and that does not leave much time for anything else. But I'll be honest with you, Orange Cassidy versus 10, they were hyping that up during the week to be like a big deal. Nothing against 10, but to me, that was just like a throwaway match. But, I personally think if they would have advertised Abaddon instead of Orange Cassidy versus 10 this week, I think you would have gotten a lot of buzz on social media about it, but they didn't do that. The backstage segment with MJF and Jericho, this is going to be a slow burn for a while. And I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And, you could see this leading to a program with Jericho and MJF. I think in the end, I think we're going to see something go down with Wardlow and Jake Hager. I don't know if you all feel that way, but it feels like that's coming soon. I don't know if the Inner Circle should break up yet, but it does, like I've said before, it does feel like I think Santana and Ortiz have to align themselves with Eddie Kingston. I just think so. I mean, the Inner Circle is fine, but there has to be some progression somewhere. I don't want to compare it to Evolution, but you remember the night when Randy Orton won the belt and he was on Batista's shoulders and Triple H went like this? I'm not trying to compare Randy Orton to Sammy Guevara, but it almost feels like one day Sammy Guevara will get that Randy Orton moment. That when they feel that Sammy Guevara is ready, maybe not heavyweight champion, but there's going to come a day where they feel like Sammy is ready to go out on his own, maybe even a babyface. We may see, remember when I say this, you might see that Randy Orton moment. Not, maybe he's not on somebody's shoulders, and maybe Jericho doesn't do this, but I think you're going to see that. And I think the day you see that is the day where things start to change. So we'll see what happens. Britt Baker beating Red Velvet. This was a match simply to try to get people to forget about that garbage with Big Swole. I don't, and a lot of people agree with me about the Sammy thing. Yeah, I'm telling you, remember when I said that? Because you will see that Randy Orton moment. And people will probably even compare it to Randy Orton. And if they do, they do. Britt Baker had a great match tonight. You know, not spectacular, but, you know, Red Velvet is very talented as well. And again, this match was designed to make everybody forget about the Big Swole stuff. By the way, that Big Swole, you know, that whole storyline seems to have just been thrown by the wayside. There was something else I was thinking about tonight, too. I can't remember. I might remember it later on, but there was something else that just quietly went away. And I was saying to myself tonight, like, you know, they just like quietly forgot about certain things. But she hit the neck breaker and the curb stomp for the win. And then after she does that mandible claw. And, you know, she's got a lot more to go in the wrestling department. But she didn't embarrass herself tonight. She actually, and remember who she's involved with. Adam Cole is a great person to be around for training. Oh, I know what I was thinking of. Tonight, when Adam Cole came out and cut his promo, and then he had the match with Austin Theory, as Adam Cole was cutting his promo, all that kept going through my head is, what happened to Pat McAfee? It just felt like it just vanished, disappeared, like nothing. Just something I was thinking about. So anyway, next week we have 30 years of Jericho celebration. Jericho and Hager versus Luther and Serpentico. You have Brian Cage versus Will Hobbs for the FTW championship. And then we'll have Brodie Lee defending the TNT championship against Cody in a strap match. And did I say strap match? Dog collar match. I you know what it is? Because the dog collar is attached to the strap, so that's why I keep thinking strap. Dog collar match. And yeah, I mean, you know, I always think about Roddy Piper and Greg Dama Valentine when the chain was wrapped around. Was that AWA Super Clash? No. Yeah, I think it was AWA Super Clash. Right? Am I right? AWA Super Clash 83, if I remember correctly. But that match was at the time. And you know what I always remember of that match? Roddy Piper's ear. If you never saw that match, or if you saw it but never really paid close attention to it, just look at Roddy Piper's ear during that match. I think he may have even had a busted eardrum during that match, and he couldn't even stand at times. But he had to talk about cauliflower ears, if you've ever heard that pun. Cauliflower ears, big time. So Eddie Kingston comes to the ring with Lucha Bros and referee Bryce Remsburg, and he asks Bryce, why did he call for the bell last week when he didn't submit? Oh, thank you. Starcade 83. Something didn't make sense about it because I'm like, wait, Roddy Piper and AWA? And then I thought Super Clash, I remember when they had, you know, all the feds together. Yeah, you're right. Thank you very much, Lion. Franchise. Yeah, Starcade 83. I knew it was 83, but yeah, thank you, Starcade. Piper lost some hearing from Greg Valentine. Look, let's also be honest. In the world of pro wrestling, everything is exaggerated. You know, do I think he went deaf because of it? You know, I don't remember. You know what I mean? Like, he's had like soft-spoken interviews where I don't remember him ever like, you know, like not being able to hear what the person said. But I do believe, I mean, he definitely injured his hearing that day. Absolutely. But everything's exaggerated in the world of pro wrestling. You know, 6 stitches turn into 12. You know, 5 staples turn into 8. You know, things are always exaggerated a little bit. I exaggerate things sometimes as well. Some of you are like, no. Yeah. Hell yeah. So Eddie Kingston's asking the ref, why did you call for the bell? And he said, we go back a long ways, but when it's business, I have to worry about your well-being, blah, 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 blah. He let the referee off easy. Moxley comes out. Eddie Kingston cutting a great promo, interrupts Moxley's music, and basically announces that the Butcher is going to take on Moxley for that belt. Now, obviously, we weren't going to get a title change. The Butcher was not going to be the AEW Heavyweight Champion. So you knew, and you're looking at the clock, and it's 9:56. Okay, this match is going to end 2-3 minutes. It's now 9:59, so you know there's not going to be any swerve. And I'll tell you the truth. One thing I would have changed in that match tonight, one thing. What I would have done is you just had, think about this, and I have a feeling every single one of you out there are going to be like, DT, yes, absolutely. You just had Eddie Kingston confront the referee. Why did you ring the bell last week when I didn't give up? I didn't tap out. And the referee said, when it's business, I have to worry about your well-being. When the Butcher was put in the same bulldog submission, the Butcher should have never tapped out tonight. The Butcher should have passed out like Eddie Kingston. The referee do the very same thing that he did last week that pissed off Eddie Kingston. That's what they should have done tonight. Butcher tapping out, to me, looked kind of lame. And you just brought attention to the referee for ringing the bell last week when he didn't tap out. Binga, it's being put right in your face. Have the referee do the very same thing. 2 weeks in a row. Both two people in Eddie Kingston's camp. Franchise disagrees. He doesn't want to see an. I'm not saying that it turns into an angle with the ref. It's not going to continue, but it makes more sense. The Butcher tapping out looked kind of lame. And if you're going to bring focus, to the referee doing what he did last week, why wouldn't you do it again? I don't know. Look, I respect that you disagree. And that's what I love about these shows. You know, there's a lot of people out there that if you disagree, they'll always say to you that, oh no, we agree to disagree, and I respect if you feel different, and if you disagree, speak out. And you know how you know when they can't handle it? When you disagree with one thing that they said, they'll tweet you back 5 or 10 times. I don't know if you ever noticed that, but you'll notice it now. Like some people claim that they love debate and difference, and you disagree with them, especially if they feel like you showed them up. Oh my God, get Desitin, because your butt will be red and sore for the ass ripping that he or she will give you. So anyway, that's the matches tonight for AEW Dynamite. It was a very easy night to watch. It really was. Segments, big time, a lot of segments. Moxley versus Butcher, not a very strong main event, I think, in the viewership department. When I get into NXT, we'll do a little ratings predictions. NXT tonight, the one thing, and this is the funny thing about it, if you look at on my YouTube page and you see the matches, the results, the quick results, NXT have more matches than AEW. But for some reason, NXT, what they have a habit of doing is they'll give you 2 matches that are pretty long. And then they'll give you like 4 matches that are like 2 minutes. Sometimes even less. Neil, have a good night, man. All the best. He's jetting out and going to bed early tonight, so I don't blame you. I'm getting early night sleep tonight. We'll definitely be done before midnight. Absolutely. We got this and Joey Ryan. And isn't it funny? Remember those nights that I was going to talk about Joey Ryan and his statement, and we postponed it like 3 episodes? It was just weird. Like, it's never meant for Joey Ryan to be talked about on these shows, but I will give you brief synopsis of what he did this week and how I feel about it. So Opening match tonight, Shotzi Blackheart beats Dakota Kai with Raquel Gonzalez. A very long match. You know, not an hour, not a half hour, but a very long match. And NXT has gotten into this habit of opening up with 20-minute matches. And maybe, you know, bell to bell is not 20 minutes, but by the time the entrances and everything else, you're almost a half hour in. And this match was great. But then, once again, I don't understand Shotzi Blackheart and her obsession of falling backwards on her neck. You know, like she does the coffin drop. She likes falling backwards. She does the coffin drop and she over jumps it, you know, whatever you call it, launches too much, her arch or arc or angle, whatever you want to call it, and she almost lands on her head. And this is, you know, when that coffin drop that she tried to do that time, that wasn't the first time that she has done a move that people were like, whoa, you know, that looked really, really overshot. Thank you, franchise. It's a little late over. I've been up since 6, so I'm a little tired. But she has had several matches and several moves that people are like, man, that didn't look good. How many times over the last 6 to 8 months have you seen Shotzi Blackheart in a match and you said to yourself, that didn't look good. I hope she's okay. You know, because like I said, I praise her. I like her. But there's something with her falling back on her back that just does not, a lot of her moves, that's what it comes down to. Back, neck, overshooting. Tonight was scary. Basically, how I could describe it is they're on the apron, outside the ring, they're on the apron. They go towards the corner, and you had Dakota Kai picking up Shotzi Blackheart. You know the best way I could explain it if you've never seen it? Remember I told you the story when I was in school and a kid was bullying me, and then we had a fight in the park, and I told you he put me in a headlock, and I just picked him up, and I fell backwards like a suplex, and he hit his head on the rock, and he lost the breathing. I think we told him about like 2 weeks ago. And he's laying on the floor, and he's going, because you can't breathe. And no more bullying. And I became friends with him, still friends with him to this day. That's exactly the move tonight. Exactly. They go into the corner, and Dakota Kai picks up Shotzi Blackheart and falls backwards like a suplex. And Shotzi overshoots it, lands almost right on her head, almost got dumped on her head. And the referees, you know, obviously, you know, she must have told the referee that she was okay. But, you know, this almost felt like the same thing with Angel Garza from the pay-per-view. Only this wasn't a botch finish. They rushed Rhea Ripley out there, get a little distraction to Raquel Gonzalez, and then the next thing you know, Shotzi Blackheart gets the quick roll-up and the win. They went right to the finish, and we just got to hope that she's okay. We got to hope she was okay. By the way, one thing I forgot to say before, when I was talking about Triple H's conference call, I said there were 3 things that caught my eye. 1, about the look for NXT this weekend. Number 2, names coming in, especially in the women's side. I never told you number 3. Tegan Nox, torn ACL, 3rd time. She already had surgery. You don't ever want to wish anything bad on anybody. You got to be extremely concerned for Tegan Nox because this is the 3rd injury. Other people have torn their ACL in the past and have recovered. But, you know, this is getting... Do I think she'll return to the ring? Absolutely, because she just, works her ass off and tries. But there's only so many times you could tear something like this. She's going to be out for a very long period of time. Very long period of time. No franchise about the days thing. There wasn't anything to it. Because I've talked about that 1,000 times. What he's talking about is they asked him, I think Meltzer even asked him about going to Tuesdays. Now, Triple H must have gotten a kick out of that question, because, you know, Meltzer's relationship with AEW, and here's Meltzer hitting that question to Triple H, that if Triple H moves to Tuesdays, NXT, Meltzer is like, I rubbed it in your face. Basically, all Triple H said is what we've already talked about, that it's not just NXT and WWE moving to Tuesdays, it's also the network. It's also the people involved. And you remember when I said this a week ago, that whether it's WWE or AEW moving to a different night, it also depends on what the network airs on those nights. They can't just say, hey, you know, USA or TNT, we want to move to Tuesday nights. That might not work out for the network. Advertising, there's a lot of other, you know, aspects involved. So that's pretty much all Triple H said. He did throw a little wise-ass answer to Meltzer and said, hey, how come you don't talk about AEW going to a different night? We were on NXT first, you know? So that's all that was. It really wasn't much. It really wasn't much about that. But like I said, if they move to another night, it's going to be it's going to be almost as important as the network wanting it on another night. You know, it's not just WWE making the call on that. That's pretty much it. So we wish Tegan Knox the best. Right now, you got to be concerned because she has, you know, this injury once again. And, you know, that is very, very difficult to recover from even one time. So now we get the split screen of Santos Escobar and Isiah Swerve Scott. Santos Escobar, thank God, and I've said this a couple of years ago, thank God this guy could talk English. Because the way he dresses, the way he looks, the conceited, you know, aura that comes across him, you know, when he talks the same language that we understand, and he's insulting you to your face, and he's a man of not a lot of words, but he, you know, Isiah Swerve Scott, you know, he's still got a little ways to go. I'm not feeling this match yet, but I think by the weekend I'll probably be a little bit more invested in it. But, you know, I actually, you know, Santos Escobar, I mean, just fabulous in that split screen, their confrontation. Enjoyed it very much. What I also enjoyed, and I'll tell you the truth, it's amazing what a difference a week makes. Because last week I was like, all right, Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor probably will be the best match of the night as far as in-ring work-wise. But, you know, Kyle O'Reilly, he's almost like the one person in the Undisputed Era that they have utilized, I don't want to say the worst, but has the least attention on. Man, in 1 week, I mean, they sold me on it. They did a fabulous package today. The three-way conversation with Shawn Michaels, I don't know how I felt about it. I mean, it was, everything that was said was powerful. It just felt random with Shawn Michaels in the middle. It was nice to see Shawn Michaels. It was a little goofy that less than 48 hours later in storyline, getting destroyed by Randy Orton, here he is sitting in the middle of the ring. Yes, pre-recorded. Yes, but my point is, you know, they try to make it look like. But the Kyle O'Reilly segment, I mean, the quote that I loved the most, and I wrote it down, he said that even if he never made it to NXT, and even if he was still wrestling for $5 a night, he would still be doing it, and he, with everything that he has and everything he believes in. So you almost feel like Kyle O'Reilly, they're starting to mold him to become a babyface. I will tell you, I am very happy to see so many people online really talking about him and his match. Did not see that much, you know, feedback coming from that, but segment they did tonight was excellent. Another segment where, and you know, somebody on social media told me this tonight, and I kind of actually agree with it. Cameron Grimes, they do the draft. Maybe it's a good idea to put Cameron Grimes on the main roster, because I don't know where he goes right now in NXT. Tonight, he did the Cameron Grimes, I have it written down, I have to read it perfectly, the Cameron Grimes Invitational Stepping Stones to the Moon match. I started liking this guy because it felt like he was getting a little bit more serious. And now, WWE, because they're the ones writing this, they have him coming out, look everybody, we're going to have the Cameron Grimes Invitational Stepping Stones to the Moon match. He beats Joey Pistachio, I kid you not. He beats, yes, Ring of Honor Kyle, absolutely phenomenal. But in the world of WWE, you know there's got to be that character element to it. He's very likable as far as ring-wise. Believe it or not, he actually could be, and there was a point where Finn Balor was like pissed off because they were talking about underdogs and everything. But you almost look at Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor, and I'm not saying that they mirror each other, but there are some similarities there, and it's not just physique either. So I'm looking forward to that match. So Cameron Grimes beats Joey Pistachio, and then I don't know who was on the rampway that was going to come out next, but this guy gets beat up, tossed aside by Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland is quickly becoming one of my favorites on NXT. So much flashbacks to old school Brock Lesnar when he first came in as the next big thing. Shades of William Regal, Steven Regal. They're focusing more on the Brock part of it. But Ridge Holland basically just starts beating the balls off of Cameron Grimes. Gets disqualified. Cameron Grimes doesn't know what hit him. And it was funny because even before the match started, Cameron Grimes was like, hey, you're not part of this tournament. I think Cameron Grimes may need to go to the main roster. Just an opinion. Vignette for Kushida. A lot of vignettes tonight. Vignette for Kushida. And, you know, talking about his injuries, all spoken in Japanese. And Kushida, you know, talking about how he's vicious now. And he is going for it. And he is going to use Velveteen Dream as a stepping stone. And this leads to Kushida beating Tony Nese pretty substantially. Tony Nese, you know, you could see like WWE is now using him more as enhancement talent. Ariel Dominguez, that's his name, Ariel Dominguez. Because I looked up Ariel, but they called him Joey Pistachio, so that's the name we got to use tonight. I want to know who was on the rampway though, but you know, Cameron Grimes, I think, you know, needs to go. Kushida beat Tony Nese pretty handily. After the match was over, Velveteen Dream is on the screen and hyping up their match at TakeOver. I know that triggered a lot of people on social media, but, you know, get used to it. Get used to it. Again, I say once again to those people out there, if he did any criminal activity to all of you and it was done on a cell phone, why haven't you called investigators? You're still waiting for a phone call from Triple H? Sounds like you want to be showered with gifts or, you know, than anything else. Because if you're that disturbed that you can't even eat, sleep, and you can't even watch wrestling, you know, you call a fucking investigator. Let them investigate it. Why don't they do that? Adam Cole comes out and, you know, he's basically talking about, you know, about the Undisputed Era dominating NXT for 3 years. And, you know, he feels like things changed, but, you know, Adam Cole says nothing's changed for him. Gets interrupted by Austin Theory. You know, Austin Theory, he threw some insults in a backstage interview on Kyle O'Reilly, but Austin Theory, they're still feeding him plates of crap because of the allegations. And Austin Theory, he had a longer match than I expected against Adam Cole, but, you know, it was a decent match. Adam Cole gets the win in the end, but Austin Theory, something's got to turn the corner soon, because I'm starting to get the same feeling about Austin Theory like I am with Cameron Grimes. He just, goes out there, he's cocky, but can't back it up in the ring. You could clearly see they're feeding him plates of crap. They're going to have to change that up soon. They got to make a decision soon with Austin Theory, in my opinion. Kayden Carter with Casey Cananzaro in the corner beat Xia Li very, very quickly. Xia Li, attitude change feels like it's coming. She's very frustrated with this loss. Match, I think, is just designed for Xia Li just to turn. Match really wasn't much of anything. We had the three, HBK moderated the face-to-face with Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor. And, it was good. It was a good segment. It was obviously an empty area, no fisticuffs, more talking smack, throwing insults. Kyle O'Reilly, my concern is, what do you do with Kyle O'Reilly after this match? They're really going to have to make beautiful music and have the internet talking big about this. Because after this match ends up, what happens? Does the Undisputed Era split and then we have a feud with Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole? Almost feel Dream 101, yeah. This is my Backlund 2000 shirt. So you got to rewind later and check out the pose also. We did it just to trigger the haters out there. So, but I'm a little concerned, like, what do you do with Kyle O'Reilly after this? I wonder if they're going to have him feud with Adam Cole. That, for some reason, that just comes to mind. Undisputed Era feels like it. They're teasing the split. We also have to see if Roderick Strong gets involved, any other members of the Undisputed Era gets involved at the pay-per-view. Kyle O'Reilly might even tell him, stay in the back, let me do this myself. Maybe they try to get involved anyway and they don't. And, maybe they get pissed off, but I don't know if you turn Kyle O'Reilly face right now. But, yeah, I agree with your franchise. They might kick Kyle O'Reilly out. I don't want them to put Austin Theory in there in his place, to be honest with you. So, main event, Damien Priest and Io Shirai, they lose to Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. It was a fun match, but, if you follow the formula with WWE, you saw this a mile away. Gargano and LeRae getting the win now, which means that the chances of them winning in the pay-per-view is slim to none. At one point, Io Shirai actually, got some offense in on Johnny Gargano. She did a beautiful moonsault on Johnny Gargano. By the way, speaking of Io Shirai, there's a great interview online with Thunder Rosa. I forget who she spoke with, but she was talking about Io Shirai being one of her trainers in Japan. And she said that, she would love to have a match with Io Shirai in the future. I don't think it'll happen, under the circumstances right now, even if Thunder Rosa was never in AEW again on TV. But, HBK, it felt a little random with the segment. But HBK, we got to remember, does work behind the scenes with NXT. So it fit for him to be there. But you almost feel like maybe William Regal might have been a better fit. But, yeah, look, they hyped this up big to try to get viewers to tune in. But the main event tonight, this was designed to give the suspension of disbelief that maybe Gargano and Candice LeRae could possibly squeak this out. It was funny, after the match was over, Gargano grabs both titles, grabs Damian Priest and Io Shirai's title. He gives Candice LeRae Io's title. And Candice LeRae is looking at it like she's opening a Christmas gift, like, for me? And it was humorous. And by the way, Johnny Gargano with the quote of the night, when they brought up Tegan Knox's ACL injury, and they're saying that that's because of the attack by Candice LeRae. And Johnny Gargano with the quote of the night saying, look, you break my TV, we tear your ACL. You know, even Steven. I thought that was hilarious, man. That's, because me, that's kind of like, you know, when I always say, you know, you fuck with me, I'll give it back to you 1,000 times worse. And a lot of you out there do the same thing. You know, somebody swerves you, you know, you may not, you know, you don't justify bad behavior with other bad behavior, but you may take it 10 times worse back to them in different ways. Yeah, no, Kavan, Candice LeRae is a little bit overrated. She's not that bad. And look, anybody could get better in time. But right now, her against Io Shirai, my mind hasn't changed. Io Shirai is retaining this. This will be more of Gaga. But you know what? She could silence a lot of detractors out there by really having a phenomenal match with Io Shirai. We'll see what happens. But as far as ratings go, you know, this was an interesting week because it's the lead-in to TakeOver. But you didn't have any big matches hyped up. If you look at my banner, here, you look at the banner I put up for this week's shows. I mean, here, once again, they don't put the fucking names on it. You know, I've noticed this for 3 weeks straight now, and, you know, I just think that's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. I don't like that at all. But, you know, Io Shirai and Damien Priest, you know, with all due respect, I've brought up before, Damien Priest has not popped ratings either. He's still got to grow. He just touched the surface with Damien Priest. They got plenty of time. But I don't feel that they're going to pop a rating today. I was very surprised on, you know, the ratings the last couple of weeks. You would have thought that even on separate nights, they might have gotten a little bit of momentum back. But, you know, you could see AEW, I think, had a more solid show today. Maybe the matches weren't all that spectacular, if you think about it. And Moxley versus The Butcher, like I said, I'm really curious to see what that quarter-hour rating is. And if we have them on Friday, I'll get into them. But I will say AEW tonight, I think it's going to be a little bit on the disappointing side. I am going to go with 872,872 for AEW. And for NXT, I'm going to say 717. 872 to 717. That seems high. 1.5 million watching wrestling. This was not that strong. I'll go with I'll go a little lower. I'll say 860 for AEW. 860 for AEW, and NXT I'm going to go with 704. 704. Yeah. There we go. 704. Savant's at 683. Yeah, we'll see. We'll know tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. So, all right. Now, before we get out of here, I want to talk quickly about Joey Ryan. I mean, I'm not going to mention the names of the people that he's suing, but it's very easy to explain. Joey Ryan has taken about 15 women to court. 2 separate lawsuits. One is against 3 individuals. The other one is against 11. The 11, he is suing for a lot less damages, but he filed this defamation lawsuit on 9/24 day, I might add. And when he filed this defamation lawsuit, he claimed of revenue that he has lost as a result of the speaking out movement. Now, before I give you my honest thoughts on this, let me read you some specifics. And I'm going to be very careful how I say this. Wow, I haven't had a slug at all tonight, so I need to take a slug. I got to be very careful how I say this. I'm not worried about getting sued because I have a right to express an opinion. I'm not accusing him of anything illegal because he hasn't done anything illegal to me other than insult me as a wrestling fan in the past with the dick flip, which I've never liked. You've heard me say this. So anyway, he claims that as a result, we're focusing more on the 3 people he's suing because of the amount of money involved. He claims that he has lost on Twitter at least 11,000 followers and is no longer getting the 1,000 followers a month that he used to get before. Just think about that in itself, and that is just goofy. That is just fucking goofy because there are people out there making crazy money in wrestling and don't even have a social media account. So he claims that he lost 11,000 followers, all right? He claims that he lost at least 8,000 followers on Instagram and is no longer getting the 1,000 followers a month because of what happened. He claims that he lost revenues from bar wrestling in the amount of $1,500 a month, from distribution and streaming services, and $2,000 per event, with 2 events per month. So he claims that he lost $5,500 a month because of bar wrestling. Now, as I'm reading this, there's one word that is going through my head repeatedly, and I think this is why not only is this case going to get thrown out, but I think Joey Ryan is underestimating the Russian roulette that he's playing right now. This is going to backfire because there are other people out there that have yet to come out. And if this was his way to scare others, like, don't even think about throwing any accusations my way, I will sue you over it. This guy, everybody's stories are going to come out in court in graphic detail. And more things are going to come out. People could come out and keep their name anonymous and make accusations. So let me go further, because the money that this guy's bringing up is insanely ridiculous. And one word is running through my head. I wonder if it's the same word that, to you, okay? He lost revenues from merchandising in the amount of $1,000 a month. He's lost revenues in his Cameo account of $500 a month. He's lost revenues from Twitch in the amount of $1,000 a month. Here's the best part. He's lost revenue from wrestling performance bookings of $8,000 to $10,000 per month. Joey Ryan, you fool, you fucking moron, you dope. Even if speaking out never took place, there's been a fucking thing for the last 6 months called COVID. He's blaming all this lost revenue on these accusers, and he could have lost all the same fucking money because of COVID. This guy is just, this personally, all I think this is designed to do is to put a scare in these people and to work out a deal where they delete all the stuff they said online, that they send, cease and desist other areas. This guy claims that he has lost almost 20,000. This guy makes 20,000. I'm getting gas. That's how angry I'm. I'm going to fart live on the show. This guy's a fool. This guy actually thinks during the COVID era, where is he going to prove? Show me the wrestling events that you fucking lost over the last 6 months that took place, that drew the money it drew, that you were not on those shows. The fuck you talking about? This is, and again, this is California, everybody. This is California. This and a pack of gum or maybe even a hand job, you can do this and say all this crazy shit. This guy's got to show receipts. I work in the banking and insurance field for over 20 years. This guy's going to have to provide to the court proof that he lost all these bookings. Take note how he never mentions Impact Wrestling. This guy is just, this is a fraud. This is an absolute fraud. So how much is he looking for? He's looking for each of these three defendants, he's looking for $200,000 apiece in economic damages, okay? He's also looking for $5 million apiece in non-economic damages, for pain and suffering, ruining his reputation. He also wants them that they have to have agreements to hush. They can't say anything publicly. They can't make any defamatory statements about him. They have to retract everything that they said. That they have to have those defendants remove anything that they've posted on any websites out there. And he also wants punitive damages in the amount of $10 million. This is almost like a farce. This is almost like a joke. The other 11 people I told you about earlier, he's pretty much suing them about $25,000 apiece. All right. You know what? I'm expressing an opinion, and I know for a fact yours truly would not be sued just for calling this guy a moron. But Joey Ryan, with all due respect, man, I want to give you the benefit of the doubt sometimes, but take it from someone who isn't around your people, isn't around your promotions in your neck of the woods, and has been in the finance, business, insurance, and legal field. I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, but I do know when car accidents and there's lawsuits and loss of income, consortium, you have to prove that this money was lost. Where are you going to show for the last 6 months that these companies had events, generated the amount of money that you say was generated, and you were not part of those shows because of this? This is a joke. This is a joke. And I'm telling you, it would not surprise me if this guy tries to go after podcasters, websites, blogs. This is an attempt to silence those people. Now, look, again, let me also say this before Joey Ryan, he doesn't give a shit about me, but let me say this in his defense, because I've said this before. Being a creep is not illegal. I'm not here to say that he did something illegal or didn't do something illegal. But I've brought this up before. When I used to go to clubs in the 90s, and we used to hang out and you try to pick up a woman or, whoever you want to, whatever rocks your boat, floats your boat. Some people would exaggerate and they would say things that they had because they're just trying to get laid. They would lie and they would say and that's all it is. And Joey Ryan, if you follow a lot of these accusations, it seems like the same, thing. Oh, friendly with someone in wrestling, working shows. Say, hey, let's work out together. Hey, you want to come out? Oh, I'm a little lonely tonight. Yeah, I'm lonely. Hey, you want to make out? I had a bad marriage and this and that. Oh, and I think we clicked together. And then, it goes on to the next woman. And a lot of these women feel like they were used. And I'm not saying that it's okay to use anybody. It maybe make him a creep, but that doesn't make him a criminal. Now, I know that there's two accusations out there that, some people have said, could be, on that side. But, what this is going to cause, it's going to cause even more dirty laundry to come out. And Joey Ryan, in my opinion, just sealed his future in the world of pro wrestling, because this lawsuit is not going to be successful. We're in the middle of a fucking COVID era. This money that he claims he lost it's not there. Even if this speaking out movement never happened, he would not have made this money that he claims that he made. And you can't predict the future. You can't predict that you are going to work events for the next 5 years. You're an independent contractor. Remember, genius, you're an independent contractor. You're not guaranteed squat. Like I said, there's some states, New York included. You know what? This will be a treat for some of you out there. I know Nelson Torres, WTF promotion, will love this. Some of you that go back with me in the hotline days will love this. There used to be a hotline guy by the name of Captain Lenny. And I know a lot of you out there, you heard some of the antics that I played on Patreon. He did that infamous hotline report with the Mass Maniac and us on the three-way. I still have it to this day. I still have with, oh my God, I can't remember the two wrestlers. One of them became very famous too. Two wrestlers in a valet in Florida. We were in a bar in 2005. And we had Captain Lenny on the phone, and I recorded the whole conversation. And they were trying for about 15 minutes to get him to jerk off on the phone. And he was talking about how he would take a bath with his dog Pepper and this, and that. It was just a weird, whacked out guy. But this guy, every time you would say something bad about him, he would try to sue you. And any of you out there that still talk to the Mass Maniac, bring this up to him, and he will tell you what I'm saying is 1,000% true. This guy tried to sue me in 2005 because I called him a dope on my wrestling hotline. He actually filed papers in court, wanted me to go to mediation with him, and the Mass Maniac put him and me on the hotline to try to iron it out. I still have the footage. Maybe I'll put it on here one day. But this guy would sue everybody. And in New York, all you got to do is, you could go on a website right now. You could go on a website right now, type in whatever you want to type in, pay maybe like $20, and you could sue somebody. You don't have to have proof. And if you lose, people have been sued fictitiously. You know, I'm not saying that this is fictitious, but the point is, this guy, Joey Ryan, this all looks beautiful and everything, but this was written very, very amateurish. Most of what you have read in the court documents, he has done himself. And I am shocked that any lawyer out there was willing to take this case. Obviously, they didn't need to do all that much. I mean, serving 15 people, 14 people is a lot of, affidavits. But the point is, this guy has to prove that he lost this money. And we're in the middle of fucking COVID, you moron. We're in the middle of COVID. So, no. And these promotions out there, you have to prove that you lost that opportunity because of what happened. And he can't prove it. And it's going to lead to more dirty laundry. He is going to piss off a lot of people out there. He's going to piss off legitimate victims that have nothing to do with Joey Ryan. Women out there that never cross paths with Joey Ryan are going to see that this guy is trying to sue people for $15+ million. And yeah, I agree. If you're just a creep that is just trying to bang every woman that he comes across in wrestling, that's not criminal. All right. But these women accusing him of being a creep, you can't sue somebody for that. Joey Ryan is a public figure. Joey Ryan is almost a celebrity. Joey Ryan has been on television, not even wrestling related. Joey Ryan cannot act like he is a regular individual. So this guy claiming this stuff, this goes nowhere, everybody. But the reason why I say pay attention to this is because you're going to have a lot more people coming out anonymously now that are going to accuse him of some even worse stuff. You're going to have dirty laundry come out, and it's never going to make court. It's never going to make court. There are people out there that ask me, do you think a jury is going to handle this? I'm like, are you nuts? This is not going to, you're not going to hire 7 jurors. In a car accident claim, if there's a bad car accident and a jury sees it, and not only that, a jury could award him They could find him in favor and reward him $1. Look up on Google cases that have resulted in $1 judgments. This guy is not a likable guy. This guy, they're going to put all over the place of what this guy's character is all about, his gimmick and all the perversion and this and that. This is never going to a trial. This is going to get thrown out. He cannot prove the figures that he put there. And losing 10,000 followers when you have hundreds of thousands before, I mean, how pathetic do you sound? And not only that, there is something called a Twitter audit online. Everyone out there, I'll leave you with this before we go. Before you leave tonight or go to bed, go on Google and search Twitter audit. Or you could search a more generalistic term like, how many of my Twitter followers are real? You could do that for anybody. And all you do is you type in Joey Ryan's screen name on Twitter, and it will tell you how many followers approximately are fake accounts. There are celebrities out there that have millions and millions of fake accounts, but they do it to pad their numbers. A lot of people do it. They pad their numbers. They pay a couple of dollars. They get all these fake accounts to follow them, and they go, look, everybody, I have 50,000 followers. You could see it. I see it on wrestling podcasts. There's some podcasts out there that have 50, 100. No, I'm not talking about JD from New York or Jason. I just want to try. You got 50, 100, 200,000 followers on YouTube, and their shows only get 2,000 views. What, 98,000 people? Were they sleeping during the shows? 2,000 views, 150,000 followers, 2,000 views. There's one person right now in wrestling, I don't want to say who he is, but he's got around 85 or 88,000 followers on YouTube. I'm jealous. And his shows don't even get 1,000 views. So people pay to pad their numbers. Look up Joey Ryan's do a Twitter audit. When you see that almost 40% of his followers are fake accounts, you have to prove that the people who unfollowed you are as a result of the speaking out movement. What happens if Twitter? Sometimes, have you all out there ever seen people or even yourself say, hey man, how come I lost 500 followers today on Twitter? And Twitter removes fake accounts. This guy can't prove it. You think Twitter is going to, for Joey Ryan, they're going to give him these? This guy, it's a scare tactic. This whole lawsuit is nothing but a scare tactic. And that's it. So that's all I really have to say about that. But, I don't think this is going to scare anyone. Now, let me say this. One last thing, and this is probably very important that I have to mention, too. Even though this lawsuit is bullshit, and even though this lawsuit really is not going to go anywhere because he's going to realize very quickly that he's going to cause himself even more damage, this is his way of trying to clear his name. And probably the best thing for him, he should have just admitted, like, look, I like having sex. I like women. I didn't intentionally use anybody, but, I was lonely and I just, he should have just been straight up and just say, look, if people think I'm a creep, I'm sorry. I like women. I'm attracted. I don't intend on using anybody, but, you can't force someone, here's the biggest problem of all this, though. Even though this is bullshit, especially for those three of the defendants, they now have to go hire a lawyer and dispute this claim. So I won't be the one to organize it. I don't have the time. I hope somebody creates a GoFundMe for those three victims especially, and even those other 11, so they can help cover the cost, because a lawyer is not that cheap. Even a low-budget lawyer is expensive. That's why, I have something called errors and omissions insurance. And I also have a policy in case I'm ever sued on these shows for slander. Now, the policy is not expensive, But the reason why I have that is because you say something derogatory about someone, you never know, somebody gets unhinged over that or gets triggered, and they can just $20, $50 file a bullshit small claims thing. I don't want to have to hire a lawyer that charges me $80 an hour, $200 an hour, even $100 just to file, go to court and file, a not guilty or, dispute it. It costs money. And all of these women now are going to be forced to hire lawyers and now go to court and respond to this. So that is the one thing more than anything else. Again, let me be clear. In my opinion, I don't think a lot of what Joey Ryan did is anything more of just somebody who wanted to get laid. I mean, yeah, that's a creep, but, I don't think people should be banished from wrestling for being a creep. But abuse is different. I don't know the whole story. So I'm not saying that he did something or he didn't do something, but, if someone is a creep, they're a creep. That guy's a creep. Don't get involved with him. Don't sleep with him because you're gonna be in for a letdown. So, I mean, how many times, you come across, that's not somebody who you want to get involved in. And some people may do that anyway, So I feel bad for these women because now they have to hire lawyers to fight this shit. But honestly, COVID, and that was the funny thing. A lot of websites out there never even mentioned that this guy has no case because of COVID. They turned around and said that he's opening a can of worms and he's doing this and more people are going to speak out and blah, 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 blah. Scorpio was saying to me, look up at Sean Vent. He said that he hit a home run with something. I'm looking up and I don't see it. You don't have to super chat this, my friend, but could someone just copy and paste what he said? Because I would love to share it with everyone. I'm looking. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. Cut and paste it. So, I haven't heard Sean's. Oh, wait. He's a fake news YouTuber. He doesn't mean. I thought somebody wrote something on the chat tonight to make a point. Okay, this guy apparently is a fake news YouTuber. Sean's View ENT. All right, I'll check it out. But this is garbage. It's garbage. I will tell you very quickly, and I got to get out of here because I actually got to get up very early too. Plus, we've gone 2 hours, 17 minutes. I in the insurance business since 98, and I've seen some crazy ass lawsuits come across my way. And the one lawsuit that I have seen happen more than anything is where someone has a minor car accident and the spouse sues the person who caused the car accident because they can't have sex with their significant other. I had a guy it's got to be about 15 years now. I had a guy that had insurance with me, and he said he had a car accident, that the car in front of him stopped short, and he slammed on the brakes, and he hit the back of the car. Didn't hit it hard, but enough where he caused some damage. Guy wanted to give him cash for his damages, said no. Guy got a lawyer and sued him. And when he brought me the lawsuit papers, the wife, not even the driver of the car, the wife was suing because of loss of, I don't remember what it's called. It's not consortium. Consortium was Ric Flair with the WWF angle. But she sued my customer because the person that he hit, the driver, was so injured from the accident he couldn't have sex with his wife anymore. And, it went to court and it got thrown out almost immediately. About 2 years later, I had a different customer come in and say, listen, I got these legal papers in the mail. I don't know what to do with them. I look at it and it's a lawsuit. He had a car accident. He hit somebody from behind and he was being sued for it. And when I looked through the papers, I saw that the spouse was suing my customer because she can't have sex with her husband who was driving the car. And I said to this customer, I said, wow. I said, I had someone else about 2 years earlier who had almost the same thing happen to him. I said, I wonder whatever happened with that case. I couldn't remember who the customer's name was right away. But like a day or two later, I remembered who the customer was, and I look in the file, and lo and behold, the lawsuit from 2 years ago and the lawsuit from this other customer, the person that got hit, that was the wife was suing, same person. Got thrown out in court like that. But the bad thing about it is, you know, car accident is different. You pay car insurance. So part of your car insurance is if you're sued, your car insurance company provides a lawyer. But that's why car insurance rates go through the roof, because of all these frivolous lawsuits. So I feel really bad for these women that now have to hire attorneys to fight this shit. It's garbage. It's garbage. Again, I don't think Joey Ryan should be banished from wrestling if he's just a creep. You know, you don't get intimate with the guy. He's a creep. That's it. But if he did more and more is going to come out, then no promoter is forced to book anybody. If everybody just feels, look, that guy's an asshole, I just don't want to deal with him. You can't sue somebody over it, you know? One day, Joey Ryan's got to look in the mirror and say to himself, you know, maybe I am an asshole. Maybe I am a creep. Maybe I am a womanizer. Maybe I do, you know, say things so I could get my, you know, my knob wet. You know what I mean? Like, if this guy is a womanizer and if he loves women and loves to sleep with them, you know, there's a saying, if you play, you must pay. And if he is talked the game, you know, you look at, I don't want to name any other wrestlers, but there's some older wrestlers out there, who have, you know, womanized over the years and, you know, have had sex with so many people that they never even knew. I mean, how many wrestlers have done shoot interviews talking about rats? How many wrestlers have done shoot interviews talking about, they go back to the hotel and there's this rat and there's this woman in the bar and this and that? It was funny because up to 2 years ago, people who reviewed shoot interviews always thought those were hilarious stories around. Now it's god-awful disgusting. Why? Because everybody else feels that way? So up until recently, those stories used to be funny and laughing and everybody's giggling over it. But those people use other people just to get laid, you know? So I don't know what's so much different with Joey Ryan. Maybe it was more personal because maybe those women thought they were going to have a relationship with him. But that's sad. And that's not anybody that thinks this is going to set a precedent that other people, you'll always have some people who will try to sue. This is Joey Ryan's last-ditch effort to try to save his name and to try to scare some people into removing some accusations. That's all it is. And honestly, he'll probably succeed in a few people. Some of those smaller lawsuits, those women will say, look, I'll take my stuff down. Please remove me from the lawsuit. And they'll sign an agreement, they'll notarize it, and they'll be removed from the lawsuit. You'll see some of that. And believe me when I tell you, I know I like to brag a little bit, but everything I'm saying right now, you'll see I'll end up being right on this. But I hope somebody sets up a GoFundMe for them. So with that said, I am out of here. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Like I said, on Friday, and this is the person that Scorpio was talking about. I'm definitely going to look tonight. When I pop Ambience, it takes about a half hour before I pass out. So I will definitely look him up tonight and see what that's all about, and maybe we'll talk about it on Friday. But like I said, on Friday, I'll be reviewing SmackDown. We'll do NXT predictions. We'll talk about ratings. Anything else that transpires between now and Friday, we'll talk about as well. And I thank you all for the support as always. Much love. And before you go, if you enjoyed the show, give it a thumbs up. If you did not like the show, give it a thumbs down. Just be interactive. That helps me a lot. And subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, I posted the thread for the Q&A. So if you go and look on the channel, you'll see that on, I believe, October 11th, I'm going to answer everybody's questions. It's a 3-minute video. So just go on my channel, you'll find it. It's a 3-minute video. It just hypes up what we're going to do and, you know, the format. And leave a question if you want. And that's pretty much it. So everyone, much love as always. I'm going to jet out of here. And post some comments. Let me know how you feel about this Joey Ryan lawsuit. If anything I said about NXT and AEW tonight you disagree with, by all means, post it. I love, hearing feedback. And I always try to be as interactive as possible. So everyone stay safe. Much love. And I'm very happy that we didn't talk about politics tonight. So that debate sucked. What a horror show. Both sides. So everyone be well. And I'll talk to you all again Friday, 10:05 p.m. after SmackDown. Ciao.